Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Well, my friends, I says, most of you know me in the community and stuff. I says, I'm going to introduce myself again, give you a little of my credentials and stuff. But I'm Paul Reis, like I said, lifelong resident of Bellows Falls. Today's show, we're going to use a lot of little props, but it's called Cut the Fat. And when I say cut the fat, we're going to talk on some local budgets here coming up. Taxpayers, I'm only one vote. You guys get to decide on anything you want, vote anything you want, disagree with me, argue, it's fine. But I want to bring my opinion out and also let you see what I've looked at with these books and some things I'm concerned with. But as we start the show, a lot of you have known that I've been a fighter for many issues, basically my whole life. I'll explain this is actually a 1989 Golden Glove boxing award for being a champion. I was a Golden Glove fighter. I had the opportunity, if I wanted, to go to the New England tournament in Lowell, Massachusetts to represent Vermont in the 156-pound class. I chose not to. I'm actually in this book called Gloves, and if you opened it up, one of my good friends says that actually my fight in 1989 was one of the best fights he ever saw in the state of Vermont. So if anyone knows me, I am a fighter for whatever issue it is. I can't go into a boxing ring now, but I'll fight for any issue. And actually one of the guys I fought and lost to at the age of 32, he actually went on to be a world light heavyweight champion of the world. Also, as a fighter, I was a good football player, a defensive linebacker for the Bellows Falls Terriers. I actually don't think anyone ever broke this record. I got 14 tackles in one game. I had 112 tackles on the season. But it's not all about me. So that's my sports history. But when you say, what's my credentials about investigating matters, looking at numbers? Well, when I was younger, in between jobs, I had an opportunity to work with a New Hampshire state trooper. He was a detective, and he was a trooper for 28 years in New Hampshire, and he taught me a lot. He says, you can figure out any crime, Paul, anything you want if you know the 5 whys. That's who, what, when, where, and why. And it always stuck in my head. When I had an investigator come investigate in the Catholic Church years ago, and that was a hard issue, he taught me some things too, and I respected his detective work. When I had a detective come up from Boston, Massachusetts to investigate Ben and Jerry's, he did me well because after the investigation, he said he believed me, so there was validation. But enough on that. What I'm going to start in is tell you how to cut the fat on many things. First, we're going to do a quick little personal fat just to compare numbers. These belts are 2 different sizes. So you see one was really short. That was like when the budgets were lower in Bellows Falls, and then they kept growing and growing. And just like me, I grew and grew and became a fat, chunky guy. Chunky guy. We bloomed right up to 210, 205 pounds. So I says, how do I fix my problem, my personal problem of numbers with the weight? It's called watch the weight. So you take this scale, you step on it, and it took me up to 220 pounds. Or 210. I was a fat guy. You know what? I dropped those numbers. You know why? Because I looked at what I ate. I was eating fat calories. I was eating a lot of sugar. One of these products, you guys know, the ice cream company here, this is 1,140 calories. That made me a fat guy. So we eliminated that right out of our budget. Okay, I'm now down to $195 and feel pretty good and confident. But now we're going to get over onto the finance part of things. My personal budget, I was spending a lot of money going to the store buying a $3 coffee at 365 days a year. And this little box, it came to $1,065.80. I says, how do I fix my own budget? Well, then I says, well, we'll go down to these little things. Well, you times this by 365 days or divide it by the cost. This thing cost you 88 cents a day for coffee. So we went from $3 down to 88 cents a coffee. But being me, I could do better. I had to watch my numbers because I was getting even cheaper. So I went with this little package of these, actually a Taster's Choice, like 6 of them. Then you divide that out, you know what? It costs you 16 cents a cup of coffee, okay? So cut the goodies. So now we go over to Bellows Falls' budget. They need to cut the goodies out of it. My electric bill was so high, it was getting up to $150, $200. I put this light bulb in. It was actually $1.08 a year. You know what my electric bill is now each month, my friends? Because I watch my numbers. $53.17 last month. I get these little books at Walmart and keep track of every category here. And it saves me a lot of money. It's called Cut the Fat in our personal budgets and our village budgets. My power bill, like I said, I saved. Auto repairs, imagine this. A 2009 Toyota Camry, okay, 14 years old, it cost me like $1,031 a year maintenance. Some years it may cost me $1,900 a year maintenance. House repairs at $1,500 for a house that's 35 years old. Well, that's enough about my personal finances. But now you better start paying attention. I call it Eddie. Eddie the little monkey. He has a heart for the taxpayers, okay? And he's been taking a good look at the financial situation of the whole town budget. And believe me, it's getting real interesting. You're spending, I believe, thousands of dollars unnecessary that really don't need to be spent in this town. I feel that you got a lot of wounds bleeding quite profusely. Sometimes you have to use a little Band-Aid could stop the bleeding in this town. But other times it gets so bad, you have to move up to the big Band-Aid, and we can't still stop the bleeding of the inflation prices. Then you got to get the gauze out. Well, tell you what you really need to do is get the magnifying glass out, look at all these budget books. And I call this the sound alarm. Listen. Uh-oh, that means we got some problems in town that need to be addressed. And we're going to start off with the gas budget. The gas budget of the village taxpayers are paying to run these vehicles. This is a little fire truck, okay? The fire budget for gas in the budget book shows $1,800 for the little fire truck. That's actually really good. Really good. I have no problem with that. The wastewater department right here, they're doing an excellent job too. $2,700 for gas. We take the water department. I don't know why. Maybe there's generators up there. Maybe they mow the grass, but they're at like $6,000. But you know what? I'm okay with that. And you even look into the town of Rockingham, the whole town. They got to go more places than the village. They're at $3,000 for gas. But what's really interesting, and I'm going to ask the chief for an explanation, the Bellows Falls Police Department is at $15,000 for gas. So you imagine the police cruiser in a 1.3 square miles uses more gas than 4 other departments combined. I have to put my glasses on to read it here, but fire department $1,800, water department $6,000, Wastewater, 2,700. Those three departments are 10,500. You take the highway department at 3,000. Those total for 4 departments are 13,500 for 4 departments. The police department is sucking up $1,500 worth of gas. Now I would ask Chief Bemis to do a little math. Show me the books. Every year when a car gets inspected, it's called Vermont State Inspection. Let me know the mileage. Are you putting, I guess when you put 15,000 for gas, to me, it looks like $5,000 per vehicle. Show me the math, how you come up with the figures. Are you going 13.7 miles a lap, 96 miles a week? I don't know, Dave, but take a good look at this, village trustees. This one's really standing out. I want to know the actual mileage. I understand those vehicles are getting maybe 16 miles a gallon. I don't think state law, you can let them idle for 8 hours. I've been told by trustees, well, you have to get the snow and ice off. Well, I've also been told in the paper that we've allowed the ambulance service sometimes to park in the firehouse. So maybe you need to park a cruiser in the firehouse and so it don't have snow on it. Every time I've owned a car my whole life here, if you know a storm's coming, you put a piece of cardboard over the windshield. You put a blanket. You don't got to scrape it and run it for hours and hours. So I believe that budget's overinflated. And I'll tell you how you can legally basically overflate any budget in town. Okay, if you're the police department and you want $1, you tell the taxpayers, okay, I'm going to hide it in my book, $1. But you know what? You jack it up. You jack it right up. Overinflate it. Say, Mr. Reis, I want a $4 increase. And Mr. Reis comes to your budget. No, I'm not giving it. Cut it in half. Okay, you get $2 goes away. You still made out, Dave. You got $2 extra. So I believe a lot of these budgets are overinflated. They're not reality. All right, we're going to go right along here to the next thing. A lot of you are going to be mad at me, but I got to tell you the way I see it. And you can disagree, vote anyway, and usually you vote for everything you want anyways. You look at this Rockingham Library things. Oh my God, almost $500,000. Well, you know what? A lot of people like it, and the end of the day is I look at the tax bill. It costs me, I think, $112 a year, $115 a year on my tax bill divided by 12 months. I'm okay. I'm going to leave it alone because the poor Rockingham district don't even have law enforcement that could use $500,000 out there to actually have somebody to call. All right, the next one we're going to go to is the schools. And they ain't going to like this, but I got a couple ideas. Actually, and I brought it up to their attention. I don't think it'll ever fly, but I think we have too many schools for the amount of students. I mean, you got 4 different schools you're paying for. High school was built for 720, and I don't believe you even got 300 in there. So in my opinion, you could take 7 through 12, put them at the high school like they do at the Compass School. So it works fine, but that's my issues there. Now, we're going to go right over to the high school budget. Take a look at the high school budget. I looked at some numbers here, unless I'm reading their books wrong. It says water and sewer, $49,713.55. Well, I said, how can that be? Because when I was there for 18 years, I never even saw someone take a shower. After sports, they jump in the car and go home and take a shower. So I determined that we're wasting a lot of money up there in water and sewer. And I tracked it back to the poor water department's up there dumping fluoride in your water, checking the magnesium, treating your water so it's the best in New England. And what are we doing? Sending it through the pipes and pissing it away on the fields. Just pissing it away. It's going on the soccer field, football field, baseball field. Well, take a look at it. Vermont just passed a new law. It comes out this year that farmers, if you use 10,000 gallons, I believe, in 24 hours, or 150,000 gallons in a month, you need to report your usage to help save the environment for people. And these are people who are growing crops and feeding animals. And I'm thinking to myself, why ain't they monitoring Bellows Falls? We're just sending the water, paying twice for chemicals and stuff, sending good treated water right onto the ground. Maybe we should bottle this water and send it down to Michigan. I think they're still drinking lead in their water. I mean, some of this stuff needs to come to a stop. Then you look at the power bill at the high school. I've watched it jump, what is it, $16,000. It went from $68,000 to like $84,000. And I says, how the hell that one happened? Well, we put like a $200,000 special article to put all new lights in the school. When I was there, we had the best lights in the school, changed the gymnasium lights, everything. So what I'm seeing happen there, it's got to be that free gift you got, you know, to put all those stadium lights there, just like Gillette Stadium. Well, when you fire those up, maybe that's driving the bill up for the night games on baseball and football. Well, my suggestion to that little criteria is, if it costs that much money, maybe we need to put some type of generator system right up by the tennis court for special sports programs where those lights maybe run off of the generator like they do at college football games rather than from Green Mountain Power. I don't know, but you can look into that. On the water issue at the high school, maybe they need a storage tank like Grizzle Drive up by my house for $750,000 and just take river water and pump it into it, maybe rainwater off the school, I don't know. But as administrators on the power bill at the high school, why aren't you on the phone calling the state, the solar system? I believe there's so much land up there. Whitney Blake's pretty smart, got some solar panels out there to cut the bill down. You go down to Sefka, I was down there at the beginning of that project. I think they saved $32,000 in electricity. So it's time the high school, don't just ask for money, but show me how you can save some. But with the high school issues and bonds coming up on replacement of auditorium chairs, I do agree that has to be done, because if somebody gets hurt, those are 40-something years old, you will be sued because they are outdated and they do need new chairs in the auditorium. On the actual driveway system, tire repaved, I also would agree probably on that bond too. The roof ventilation system, that should be all replaced, because I actually worked there for 18 years when a lot of it wasn't working. So we could go on and on, but how do you cut the goodies out of the budget? I'm going to tell you, in 1970, my dad used to buy some auctioned vehicles off of the town. Years ago, the town trucks had like a $100 little flashing light when they did work up in my neighborhood, and my dad would buy the trucks and would watch the lights flash. Well, somehow now, take a look at the goodies you got on all these trucks in town. You know, they now got $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 lighting systems. You know, I understand why some departments need extra lights. I understand why the state police are up on the interstate need extra lights. I understand why the sheriff department in a construction zone. But the Bellows Falls Police Department, I'm sorry, back in the 70s, 80s, probably the 90s, this simple little blue light, you know, you probably can pick it up $102. But now it's like going to the fireworks whenever they turn the lights on. You got them on the back, the sides. And yeah, they're pretty for the parade, okay? They're pretty for the parade, but Mr. Police Chief and Mr. Trustees, these are costing me $3,000 or $5,000. So you're wasting taxpayers' money, is just being blown. Take a look, get the old, you know, the lens out, start looking closer at these numbers. Like I said, they have this other type too for maybe a highway truck. They sell them. They seem to work fine in other towns and stuff, and I don't see no major problem, but maybe the state, you never know, they might have mandated that you put these $7,000 lights on. They might have mandated you had to buy these gas-guzzling Ford Explorers that were spending 16 gallons a mile. Maybe you need to get something better on gas. Maybe check with Gary Fox and you can get a little electric plug-in thing there and plug it in each night while the guy runs his shift. Maybe it won't cost you anything for gas. But you got to start being creative, man, because I'm actually getting sick and tired of just shelling out money for stupid stuff. Now we're going to go on to a few other little things here. I'm going to wrap up the program. And, you know, and it's the same thing. Most politicians I've met are really great people. I had an opportunity to meet with all our representatives at the Bellows Falls Library. I believe they're working on these issues, willing to work with people. But there's a lot of crookedness still in the state. And I call it the crooked snakes. There's very good attorneys that I've met over the years. But I'll tell you what, some of them you gotta hold on. I says they're crookeder than hell. And you'll find that out in other shows coming down the road. We gotta wrap it up here, but we got a couple other things. You probably saw the article in the Reformer. I'd like to actually congratulate Charity Clark for getting elected to Attorney General for the state of Vermont. She's got her hands full looking for a Rolex watch that was reported missing from the evidence room from the Vermont State Police. Well, I'm sorry, the police, I believe 95% are good guys, but you got to root out these bad apples. One law enforcement officer said right here, you better not just knock on my door. He says he's heard many things over the years. You better start knocking on some other doors. That's his direct quote. And you know what? I hope he shares the information, because I could share information going back 42 years, the corruption that's taken place. Here's another story. You know, when you talk about drugs and stuff, the head DEA, one of the top guys, it works for us, is getting 12 years in prison. He's been working with the cartel. So who do you trust? Do you trust the FBI? The FBI's looking into being investigated. Do you trust the CIA? Okay. Now we're going to do a little couple politician type things here. There's several big classified top secrets here I found. They weren't at Donald Trump's, they weren't at Joe Biden's, but kind of Paul Reis just kind of had them in the cellar. And I was kind of concerned on these. And one of my big concerns that always blew my mind, I lost trust, is who actually killed John F. Kennedy? Who helped fund the World Trade Center pilots that smashed down the building? What happened to Jeffrey Epstein? Did he know too much? Does he have too much on top politicians? I'm finding our criminal justice system is set up to protect the wealthy and the rich, so they're never really held accountable. They disappear and die before you even know. My uncle actually was a spy for the U.S. Army. He was a CIA agent, and they participated in assassinations, what they're trained for, and explosives. So you can't tell me the CIA doesn't know all these little secrets. Well, they're not secrets no more. Everyone in the world knows. You look at some of the biggest drug dealers and you're blaming everyone else. Our own conflicts that we've had in war. Read some of these articles. You'll find that we actually arm all these rebel groups, cartels. We fund them to keep the flow of the cash coming in and keep the flow of the oil, and we want to control everything. So dig deeper, my friends. I ask every one of you, do who, what, when, where, why. Start your own investigations on budgets. Anything you want to do. Like I said, what was the other one here? I got a couple little ones. Right here, Vermont. They got some very top secrets up there in Montpelier, and I've been looking through my files, and it's quite interesting. I remember I worked for an ice cream company in 1995, and they said I had more than enough work. We're making Peace Pops. Then they turned around and told me, geez, we got to lay you all off, like 30 of you. And I says, why? And the manager says, geez, Paul, I'm really sorry, but we subcontract the Vermont Peace Pops out to Edie's in Indiana. So I says, how can you do that? And he says, we're going to just use Vermont Vermont milk. And I'll tell you what, that little story about the Waterbury thing, the little garage, like I said, once again, it's a little phony tale, but you're going to find out there's a lot more connections to Vermont's top little secret and how Bernie got in office. And I'll still respectfully thank Bernie for his service. But I am truly, once again, asking Bernie Sanders to step down. And the reason I say, Bernie, you're on the United States Labor Board. You were well aware that not just myself, a half a dozen workers were held 2 feet off the ground, assaulted with a board, and you did nothing. Right here in BF, we have a couple top secrets. This little envelope, we're going to see how this plays out, but we're actually trying to still pinpoint down where the stolen car went. That was at the Hetty Green Motel. I was interested in buying it, and like I said, it disappeared, and the last town manager says she got a report that it was reported stolen. She's looking into it. The Cuda law firm told me it was reported stolen. Well, it's been almost 3 years, my friend. Everyone in the state's been notified, but we still haven't found the stolen car, but I think I saw it up in Springfield, so I'll let you know how this one makes out. But thank you very much for the program. If you liked it, you liked it. If you didn't, you didn't. But thank you very much. Have a good day.